Okay, hey, welcome to our Monday Night Live with the Canadian guys. And tonight we're going to be talking about group riding, and we've got with us no other than Hey Richard.
Hey
And
guys.
Hey, Richard.
Hey Richard, and for any of you in the side who have no idea who Hey Richard is, I will tell you, Richard is the first officer for the CMC group that I belong to here, the Saugeen Maitland group, and I have an ongoing joke with Richard about asking him if it's an ice cream group or a motorcycle group, and it's always Hey Richard, and the Hey Richard has kind of stuck. So that's where that's all come about. So I'll just start off. Everybody knows who I am, but I will say I'm Superman Kev 2001. I welcome to the live stream here at my place, and I ride a 2012 Electric Glide Classic, and I belong to the CMC riding group. And next up will be Richard. Richard, tell us about yourself, what you ride, and the group and all that sort of thing.
I'm Richard. I also known as Hey Richard. I ride a 2011 Vulcan Voyager 1700, and I'm the first officer of the Saugeen Maitland Canadian Motorcycle Cruisers, and do a lot of group riding with Kevin and a whole bunch of other friends that go search for ice cream, really.
How about you, Dave? Tell us about your group riding experience.
Well, I'm Dave. My channel is Harley's Diners Rides. I ride a really pristine, clean 2007 Harley Davidson Street Glide. And I'm one of the Canadian guys. But I'd like to do a quick shout out because look at Wayne, eh? He was thrown by the word pristine.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to. So one of our followers, Craig at Moto Travels, he's out in BC.
Is that Moto Travels?
Hold on. So Craig had a contest a little while ago because he hit 500 subscribers.
Oh, congratulations!
Well, by the time he was finished the whole contest and everything, I think he's up to 775. Anyway,
that's amazing.
I know for a first year YouTube channel, that is fantastic. He's got some great content. Anybody that doesn't know Craig should go and check out his channel. But this is what I want. First of all, I like hats, and that says Moto Travel on it. So I got a hat. I got a T-shirt. Look at that. Hey, I'm thinking. And only because we live in Canada where the temperatures drop, and our friends in Florida, they complain when it gets to be about 50 degrees. And up here, we're traveling with, minus 20 or 30 Celsius. Craig sent me a toque, a Canadian.
Oh, right on.
Motor. I put it on right now, but it's a little. It'll mess my hair up. But I'm definitely, Craig. Thanks very much. I see you in the side chat. Continued success, and he's off. His channel is going to go on a 5-month travel across Canada.
Wow.
So he's going to take 5 months, go across Canada, him and his beautiful bride, and both of his bikes, and it's really looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can catch up with him sometime this year. Anyway,
great.
Sorry for taking a little bit of time there to say hello to Craig, but just had to give him a shout out. And thanks very much, Kev.
It's all
Wayne,
good.
Over
Wayne.
to you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Wayne. Jarvis Biker's my channel.
Hello, Wayne.
And we ride with a group of about 15 riders. And We do long rides. We do planned overnight, week-long rides to faraway destinations, and it's a lot of fun. And
What do you call your guys? You guys, I know, but it's got
it's
a neat name,
the BATT
which
Writers
stands
Group,
for.
and it stands for Boys and Their Toys.
There you go. Very good, very good. So we all have got quite a bit of experience riding in a group and riding in different kinds of groups, both the really organized rides and friend rides. And I always treat them a lot the same. You guys would say sort of the same thing, would you not? You have well, we'll get into that a little bit as we get going. So the first question I've got is this one. I'm going to take that banner out because it just drives me bonkers. Where does that go? Oh, it's down here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. Riding in a group. What would you consider the good? What would be the good of riding in a group? Richard, I'll start with you being as our guest.
Well, there's safety in numbers, right?
Yeah.
When you've got a group of 6, 8 bikes, the longer you are, the more visible you are, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's probably a good thing. How about you, Dave? What would you say would be the good when you're riding in a group? What would you consider the good?
Well, first of all, when I was doing all of that, shout out to Craig, I forgot to say that I also ride with the York Region Harley Owners Group, our hog chapter here in York Region, and I'm the assistant director for that. And I'll just say this: it's the enjoy a ride with friends is our motto, and the camaraderie of being able to get out and go for a ride with like-minded people and learn new roads, destinations, and just really sit back and enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. And how about you, Wayne?
What Dave said. The good is when it's a good group and everybody gets along and it's well disciplined. It's a lot of fun. The one thing is you don't know every spot to go to, whereas a group,
yeah,
others may know of secret little places. A lot of times I lead a ride, I take a different route than somebody else might have. Halfway through the ride, they're like, share this ride with me because I need to see these roads again. So that's another good thing about being in a group.
Yeah, I would agree. And what I was going to say is one of the best rides that I went on was with Richard, and we called it the going nowhere ride or something. What was it?
The ride to nowhere.
The ride to nowhere. The ride to nowhere. And it ended up, we just had a really good day and found some cool roads. And it just like really didn't have a destination or where we were going to go, but we ended up down at the shoreline of the lake, and we managed to pick up some cool stuff to bring home at some little bakery spot, and just things that just happen along the way. And sometimes those are the very best rides, I think.
That was the ride to nowhere.
That was the ride to nowhere.
Oh God, yes. There was no end of trouble on that ride and no end of laughing on that ride.
I know, it was fun.
And what a bucket of laughs. Like, found this amazing spot for pizza in Walkerton.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the pizza.
Yeah. I mean, lots of people know about it, but I've never been.
Yeah. The next question I've got is, do you feel safer riding in a group than by yourself? And you already alluded to that a little bit. Why are you flashing, Wayne?
I have no idea. It's not me.
Oh, okay.
It's a smoke detector going off.
Yeah, he's in the emergency room, I think. Anyway,
he's got a rave going.
Yeah, I think so. We just didn't hear the music. So like I always feel safer in a group. And Richard, you already alluded to that. I like some of the things that I find about being in the group is like you said before, like the more. I always find like if you're in 2 or 3 or 4 bikes, even uh, the cars see you. Whereas when you're just by yourself, that one headlight coming down the road, they don't necessarily always see you.
Mhm.
I mean, that's why I put all those other lights on my bike because I'm not always with a group. And when you're with a group, I don't worry about that so much. But I now that we do, and we'll get into that about there is bad with that too. But what would you say, Richard, about that? Do you feel safer riding in the group than by yourself?
Yeah, a lot of times I do. I mean, if something ever goes wrong, you've got 5 other bikes with you that can give you a hand and
True.
help solve what's going on.
Yeah.
I know I ride completely different in a group than I do by myself.
Same.
When I'm by myself, I tend to just kind of float on the road and keep myself moving. Where in a group, you're staggered and keeping your spacing, and
Yeah.
I'm a lot less aggressive when I'm in a group, usually.
Well, I find too when you're in the group, you really have to pay attention a lot more
Yeah.
to the bike in front of you because we typically have what about 2.5, 3 seconds or something. Is that what we do? 3 seconds?
Well, we usually do about one to the wing and 2 directly behind you.
Yeah. So like
But there's a
you're
lot going on around you when you're in a group.
yeah, and you really have to pay attention because I mean, somebody does something stupid, you want to be able to react.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What about you, Wayne? What do you think? Do you think it's safer riding in a group than by yourself?
Depends on another thing that depends on the group.
Oh yes, that's also
If you've got a focused batch of riders that are 100% on the pin all the time, yeah, it's safer, it's more visible. The other thing is like, say you're going to change lanes, you you can't see as far back to see the whole group. You if the tail guy is working with the lead guy, they can jump over and take the lane for everybody so that everybody can drop in front of him
yeah.
instead
Yeah,
of vice versa, waiting for the lead guy. And then everybody's got to scurry to get in and get caught up and stay in sync with everybody. So
yeah. That's
sometimes it's the tail wagging the dog when it comes to that, and experienced riders that know what's going on.
Mhm.
You'll see
I
that in some of my group videos. You'll see the tail guy jump over all of a sudden and take a lane, and that's
we've done that when we've been traveling together with like the Canadian guys. But the one thing about doing stuff like that really helps is when you've got the communication. Like when we've had our helmets connected, you have the lead guy saying, "Okay, tail guy, go over and take that lane," and then it blocks the lane for the other guys to move in, which works good. And that's very very helpful. What would you say, Dave? Did I talk to you? Did I ask you already? No, I didn't ask.
No, no. Do I feel safer riding in a group? I think Richard was bang on saying it's a different style of riding to
Yeah.
solo or 1 or 2 riders. Do I feel safe in a group? As long as it's a good group and we're all abiding by the rules of riding in a large group, and there are rules, lane positioning, timing, hand signals, whether it's communication or hand signals, things like that. If it's a good group and we're all on the same page of how to ride, then yeah, I feel safe and it's an enjoyable ride. If it's not, if you're in with a group that you don't know, or some people that are just all over the place, then probably not as safe as you'd like it to be.
Well, and that brings up the next question. What is something about riding in a group you hate? Richard, you've rode with more groups than anybody here, I think. So what would you think? What's something you hate when you're riding in a group?
Oh, no communication.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a lot of people around you, you need to communicate what you're doing. And I've been with some groups that they just don't, and you have to guess, and now you're stuck reacting to that bike all around you, and it just makes for a stressful ride, and that's not why I wanted to get on the motorcycle, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, is when we get in a group ride and you have a poor rider, or like more so somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing, that makes me nervous. I hate that. I like to ride with people that kind of have the same level of riding as I do. Although on the same point, I do like to encourage new riders, but I'm sort of talking out of both sides out of my face, because I kind of feel like as much as I like riding with new people, I don't want somebody who's brand new, where they don't know how to use their controls properly, or their signals, or they're not confident enough on the bike. That's what I don't like.
Well, and that's a major thing too. If you've got someone that's really, really new, a large group is not the place for them to be.
No.
2-3 bikes, let's go out and cut your teeth. We were all new riders once, right?
Yeah.
And you weren't ready to jump into a group of 30 bikes when you first got your bike. Nobody is. So, yeah, it's getting in over your head is a huge problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dave? What's your step in on this?
I wouldn't go so much as saying hate. It's things
Dislike. Let's go dislike.
I was just gonna say,
I think I'd have to go to counseling if I started saying all the hates I have. But the
mild irritant.
some of the things about group rides is you're dependent on a road captain or ride captain, to plan the ride, and if that person doesn't read the group correctly, you could be a long time in between gas stops, washroom breaks, just even rest periods. If a ride captain doesn't have the proper hand signals and do a proper ride meeting prior to the ride, it ends up for a lot of frustration, like Richard was talking about. If you've got if everything works well, it's a nice flow to a ride. But just sometimes riding or organizing a large group, it's like herding cats.
Yes.
Right. You've all heard that saying, right? Trying to get people out of Tim Hortons for kicks, when we're putting the kickstands up, showing up to a ride and then all of a sudden realizing that, they're riding a Sportster with a half a tank of gas. Right.
Yeah.
And
I'll
be right back. I got to go and fill up my tank. Right. So things like that. It's really what I would dislike is the improper organization of a ride. Like I say, if it's done right, it's a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie. Angel says it's a bit boring, but there's room for group rides and there's rooms for single rides. There's room for riders that just want to punch it and go as far and as fast as they can. Right. So it's knowing your group and where you fit in with that group. Right. Oh, what did he say? I hate the stinky.
The slinky effect.
Not the stinky.
I thought he said stinky. Right.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say the one thing that I probably dislike the most is stuck behind somebody that's riding with open pipes.
Oh, yeah.
Right. If anybody has ridden behind somebody with open pipes, it's, forget it. I'm backing way off. I'm going to be about a mile down.
I pass them.
Yeah.
I get as far in front of them as I can get.
Yeah. But, Craig brings up the whole thing around the slinky effect. There again, it's the ride captain's responsibility to monitor the group. And if the group's getting spread out, they should be slowing down. And the other thing too is if the light turns green and you're bailing it to do the 60-second mark down the road, that's not doing a favor for the riders behind you, because they're going to be booking it even twice as fast just to catch up to you. So that's what I mean. It's got to be know your group, know the route, and really be organized so that it's just flows. It's one continuous group.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wayne, have I asked you? I didn't ask you, or did I ask you?
No, you haven't asked me yet.
All right. The one thing that did come up though there that I just wanted to make a comment on is what Dave was saying. Oh, and there you go. My memory is great. And I'll tell you something else. I think I'm losing my memory.
Kevin, you were going to tell my wife what a great guy I was.
I was going to tell you that. No, I was going to say that when they were talking about the slinky effect, I have had that happen before too, where you have people that jam on the brakes, but then they don't tell the people behind, right? And so they're jamming on the brakes. I all of a sudden see a red light. I would rather see a hand, telling me that I'm slowing down before they're putting their foot on the brake. But they don't always do that. So, Wayne, go ahead.
I think the only thing left for me to say is that when there's someone on the ride that needs to stop more often than others.
Yes.
And you just kind of get rolling and you think everything's going good. And then, we got to have another break.
I got to pee.
They have to pee. At this point, I've got to.
the other thing is like, if they don't like certain types of roads and they don't like riding on them, maybe they're a little busier than others. Sometimes that's.
Yeah, we've run into that before too.
It can kind of wreck a ride if you have to kind of route things around so that everybody is pleased with that. I've had that happen a couple of times. So
I've got a little video I put together with some of the rides that I've been involved in, and it involves all of you guys. So I'm just going to play that now. It'll show you some of the rides, and we'll be able to talk through it while it's playing. So I will do that. Okay. There we go.
Richard, that's a nice shiny bike you have.
I'll move that out of your way, Wayne. What is that? Yeah, this was a CMC ride, this one.
Ice cream.
well, there's a gold wing.
Yeah, that's a cool one. That's the changer that got one, right? Just a bunch of guys that I just ran into one day and running with one of the fellow CMC riders that I ride with sometimes. This was an event.
That was a cruise night.
Yeah, it was a cruise night. Around night. This was a CMC event here.
Those Hamptons of it.
This was heading home after a CMC ride. This was a ride that was one of the just spontaneous ones where we ended up just up at the beach in the springtime. It was kind of a cold day, but it was fun. A really sunny day. It's over. Ice cream.
Hollywood.
that's the thing. Like we've all been talking about that and how much it's fun. And I think that that's what my little video was trying to illustrate is that, you know, this is a lot more fun with friends. You know, I love to ride alone sometimes, and I love to go on a solo trip, but I would say by far my favorite trips are riding with friends and going somewhere and you know, you never know what you're gonna run into when you go on a ride like that. How would you deal with an aggressive rider on a group? Like if you've got somebody, especially Richard, you're road captain for could be a fairly large group. Have you ever had to deal with somebody who's driving way too aggressively? And how'd you deal with it? Is this something that you talk about at the beginning of the ride, or like, do you try and nip that in the bud before?
Yeah, we've had a couple of issues where, you know, you get to a stop and you've got to pull someone aside and say, okay, look, you're kind of raising everybody's blood pressure and you got to just settle down a little bit. And, you know, I'll usually give you a couple of warnings and then, okay, you know what? Just find your own way home. You're making everybody else nervous and we don't need that. I don't like to get to that point. Thankfully, I haven't had to kick anybody off of a ride yet. But yeah, generally, you just pull them aside and say, hey, you know what? You're raising my blood pressure. Can you just tone it down a little?
Slow it down.
Yeah.
Dave, have you ever had that with the hog guys at all, where there's been somebody driving a little aggressive?
We not as much. You know, it's more etiquette in the sense of people wandering back and forth in their lane, speeding up, passing, you know, that type of thing. A lot of it, we set the tone or the culture of the ride at the ride meeting before we get started. You know, also for us, we're more of a closed or organized group. Where somebody brand new comes in, even before, because when I used to look after the membership for our chapter, if a new rider phoned up and said, listen, you know, I've got now hog again, you have to have a Harley to be into the group. But if somebody would phone up and say, listen, I'd like to come out and see what your group's all about and go for a ride with you. At that time, I would give them, it would be my opportunity to explain to them the culture of the club, what type of riding we do, that type, you know, set the ground rules before the person even gets out there.
Yeah.
You know, we do a lot of legwork prior to that ride. But is it possible for somebody just to show up and, you know, and see our ride calendar and say, hey, I want to come on a ride with you? Yes, we've had people do that. You know, but again, going back to the ride captain, set expectations and what we've already said, you know, just take them aside. If there is a problem, your first break, just pull them aside and say, hey, listen, let's just go over, you know, some of the rules of the ride and, you know, trying to bring that person back in the fold. But if they don't, then yeah, we'll ask them to leave.
Yeah, I think like in the past, even when I'm riding with somebody that I don't know, I will go over kind of some of the rules.
Kev put Harley girls.
Oh, look at what is she? She would never do that. Glory would never do that, right? She used to be the director of her hog chapter.
So make them lead and then just let them go.
I know she should be putting laughing out loud at the end of that.
Well, I was going to mention that too. Typically, when you go on a ride, you have your most experienced riders at the front and the back, right? So you've got your most experienced rider at the front, and you've got somebody is probably equally experienced at the back, because you don't want to stop the whole group if somebody drops out. Yeah. At least that's the way we do it with CMC anyway. What about with you, Wayne, with the guys you ride with? Do you have some kind of you guys all are a pretty tight group of friends, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's no
there's none of that aggressive
There's
stuff
no
going on.
rockets in that group at all. No.
No, I think the next
No.
comment, though, I'm going to start with you, Wayne, because I think it's going to be more because you guys know each other so well, and that's using signals are important in a riding group. Any tips? You were telling me, you were sharing with me a little while ago about how you have to pay attention really closely with your guys because they use hand signals, but describe to the guys.
Lead guy is like off the side, just all you see is like that for left. Like
You know?
or he'll kind of there's nothing, he might just give a little one like that, like that's exaggerated for him, but
Oh, yeah.
it's as it works really good. I mean, everybody's paying attention all the time.
You have to.
There's
But if you're the same guys riding together all the time,
Yes,
you get
it's-
used to it, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I've had where I haven't ridden with, like, my best friend rides bike, and we hadn't ridden in years together just because we were separated by life, right? So, and just one day I ran into him at Port Dover and we went for a ride, and it was just like back in when we were younger, and it was like every move was like, if you know them, you know them. If you don't, you don't. Like, that's the good thing about my group is everybody is very familiar with everybody, so it works well.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dave, using signals important in riding group. Any tips? Any suggestions? Any comments on using hand signals?
Oh, be consistent. If you're good, if you've got a club, every ride you go on, you use hand signals, regardless of whether or not you have communications. Communications is really good between the front and the lead rider, the ride captain, and we call it a tail gunner. You know, in that sense, it's really good to find out who gets locked up, you know, at a red light, or if the group's getting spread out. But really, to keep the group consistent, everybody should be doing a proper hand signal, whether you're the first bike, the fifth bike, or the 10th bike. You know, and be consistent, right? And if somebody's not doing hand signals, then you should be telling them to do the hand signals. You know, we get some big rides. You know, we've got almost 100 members in our club, and you know, if we get a good turnout, you know, we're looking at we wouldn't send a large group out. We would break it into smaller groups, right? We, you know, look at around 11, maybe 12 riders in a group, you know, instead of anything larger than that, because it just makes it a little bit harder to control, and it becomes unsafe. If you've got a group of 40 bikes going down the road, down the highway, and a car has to get off the highway, they're trying to push their way through the group.
Yeah, that's not good
and that
either.
becomes dangerous. So, you know, we normally limit our number of bikes in each of our rides to 11 per group, 11, 12 per group.
So, Richard, you want to weigh in on this? What do you say about hand signals?
Well, yeah, send them back. Be consistent. When I was first learning how to be a road captain, the guy that trained me, Big Murr, he said, be obvious about it. Get your hand up there that you're turning, you know, make sure people see what you're doing, especially if you're running a large group. I mean, well, Wayne, Kevin, you guys were both along on the pink ride back in August. And, you know, we've got 25 bikes of women that don't ride together. And you've got to have a couple of really experienced tail gunners keeping the back end locked up. And there was stretches where we were 2 miles long at one point, and you've got to be keeping the hand signals moving. And it worked because everybody always did hand signals.
Yeah, and that it makes
we were out of communication.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, especially if you don't have communication. You're relying on that hand signal, and if the guy in front of you, it's like I find that if you're telling them at the beginning, make sure you pass that hand signal on. If the person in front of you misses one, hopefully the person in front of them didn't. And so you know what's going to happen, you know?
You've got 6 others doing it that you can
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
So you kind of clue in, you know, on what's going on. Did everybody weigh in on this? Yes?
Yeah.
All right. So this one here is, and you talked about that a little bit too, Dave, is what's an ideal group ride size? And you were saying you think 11 is about right for
Yeah,
for you?
10, 11, 12 for our chapters is what we've kind of settled on.
Yeah, I think that, like myself personally, what is an ideal group ride size and why? I you know what? I've rode in really, really big groups, but I think an ideal size for me is about 6 bikes. Like, because now you can be tight and you can go places and you can do things. When you got a big group, you always have to worry about getting split up at a traffic light. I mean, that's the other thing. Making a right-hand turn, talking before the run, saying, you know what, we're not going to go right on a red, so that we don't end up getting split up. We'll wait until the green and then we'll all turn right. Or, you know, depending on, unless it's maybe a country road, but for the most part, we don't do that. We'll wait. What would you say, Richard?
I mean, if you've got any kind of city maneuvering going on, 6 is your max. Like,
Yeah.
You don't need a very big hole to get 6 bikes out of a stop sign and get going. And you can keep them together and you don't slingshot.
Yeah. You get that whole, what do they call it? Slinky.
Yeah. Mind you, there's something to be said about pulling a string of 30.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6 is easy to manage. And a lot of times you don't need an experienced tail gunner. If you're managing 6, you can do it from the front because you can see everybody and you're all tight together.
Yeah. How about you, Wayne? What would you say the ideal group size for you would be?
I like it around 8 or 10.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I think the thing too is when you've got that many, you do demand a little bit of visual on the highway when you got that many bikes, you know.
Well,
like cars see you.
When we did the Wicked ride,
Yeah.
like there was 100 broken up into 4 groups.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of
Yeah.
there was a number one, there was a lot of pink
A lot of
being worn on that highway. And like for me, I was able to move around. What I was doing was I was watching what the leader was doing, but I was maneuvering. Basically, I was in the second lane. I was beside them on a 2-lane highway.
Yeah.
Watching what they would do, and then if traffic came from the other side, I would just filter in with them.
Yeah.
One young lady didn't quite appreciate it because she didn't realize I was the cameraman. She thought I was just some biker butting in. But once we introduced ourselves at the next stop, everything was fine after that. So there's where communication before the ride, that first group, which was the last one that I caught up to videotape all of them, which was what I was trying to do, was to get every person in that ride videotaped. So they had a record of it for later on. They can watch the video and, hey, there I am, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where the signals were good.
Yeah.
And the tail gunners were running the show, basically back at the back. If anybody was straggling a little bit, they'd move up and see what was going on and make sure that they were tucking in as tight as they should. And it was easy to do our job, like as cameramen, that we were trying to get in there, and you know, we were trying to stay out of everybody's way, but to get close enough to get everybody individually included in the videos. So it was it worked out well. They behaved themselves and they did what they were told, and that way I knew what they were going to do because I knew what what the group ride leader was indicating they were supposed to do. So
And I mean, a lot of the bike groups themselves that have similar riding styles, a lot of the rules of their group rides are all the same.
Mm.
There's a couple little tweaks here and there, but I mean, they're pretty much all the same rules when
And
you're in
one-
group.
One of the rules, Richard, that you're always telling us is like, if your bike breaks down or something like that, the guy or girl, whoever's bike is having trouble, pulls over, and the others just go by, and the tail gunner will be the one that'll stop to help,
Yes.
right? Instead of having the whole group stop.
Putting
know?
20 bikes on a shoulder is a quick way to drop 10.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
yeah. Any other comments on this? You guys, have we
Well,
pretty much all weighed in on it, eh?
I was just gonna one of the tricks we use when we have a group ride is that if somebody gets stopped at a red light, then that person, once the light turns green, just continues straight on until they see either they catch up to the group or they see the last rider in the front group stopped at, whether it's a left or a right-hand turn, waiting for that rider to come up. So as the rider approaches, then that rider from the first group will lead on and catch. So for our groups, we don't make left and right turns without leaving somebody behind so that the end of the group can catch up. And if it gets too far, then you're right, Richard. You don't want to pull over on the side of the road. You want to find yourself a parking lot or something like that where you can pull over and wait for the group to catch up. And we've been quite successful with this. And it's common sense, right? Common sense, and you just take your time, right? Ride your ride and enjoy the group.
And don't panic.
Don't panic.
That's one thing with the fallback rider we try and explain. Don't feel that you got to do 130 to catch up.
Yeah.
We'll slow down. We're going to be waiting for you.
Get Angel Faces
Sure.
about the rendezvous point.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a really good point. And we, with the CMC, we will talk about that too. Like, we'll say like our first stop will be at blah blah blah, and then if you do get lost, that's where we're going. And we don't always. Well, the ride to nowhere, we didn't know where we were going to be, but most of the time we do know where we're going, and we do have it kind of planned out, so it works out okay. The next
Dead
question.
Nuts here.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Well, welcome.
Back from the land of nowhere.
I think he's still out in. He's still out
No,
in
he's
Alberta.
back. He's out of the wilderness.
Is
No,
that right?
I think he's still there. He just had his picture with Craig from Shushmoto a week or so ago, and they didn't look like they were in the East Coast.
So I've got something you always take with you on a group ride, and the thing that I always take on a group ride is gasoline. I carry a small jerry can in my saddlebag, and the CMC guys know that I do, but it's like I always think that I want to be at least. I don't want to get stranded because somebody with their Sportster decided not to fill up. They can't keep up. They run out of gas. So
I didn't need gas. It was still half a tank.
I still have a tank. Yeah. How about you, Dave? What do you bring? Something you would always take on a group ride?
Well, I know one thing I don't take, and that's a rag and a spray bottle of cleaner, right? But that's why in a large group, I like parking beside Kev because he'll get off his bike and he'll clean my fairing for me, right?
Yeah.
So
I think everybody here's had their fairing cleaned.
What do I take? Always take on a group ride?
Yeah.
He's just trying to get rid of the dead bug smell off.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, that's why you join Angel Faces Fast Group, then you don't have to worry about it.
They don't have any.
You know what? If it's if I'm the road captain, I'll be taking a first aid kit with me.
Yeah, that would be
You
good.
know, if you plan for the worst, it'll never happen.
How about you, Richard? What do you take on a group ride? Something you'd always take with you?
Well, and this has only happened in the last couple of years, either Lysol wipes or even just baby wipes.
Oh
It is
yeah,
ridiculous how often you're going to use those when you're having ice cream.
yeah. I know. We do have ice cream
You get
from time to time.
across the parking lot with an ice cream cone and it's dripping off your elbow. Well, have a baby wipe out of the trunk.
How about you, Wayne? What's something you always take on a group ride? A lot of cameras.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you ask anybody in my group, it's pretty much everything. There'll be a tire repair kit, a compressor,
Yeah.
um,
Tools.
Okay,
there's probably enough tools to remove
should've-
anybody's tire
I should have
and
worded
put
this
it back
differently.
on.
What don't you take?
Kitchen sink.
Wayne, did you get the cappuccino maker moved from the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I took it out and I just put a Tassimo in. And,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's a little tidier than the cappuccino. Dead Knot put in there about planned fuel stops as
Oh,
one for
yeah,
the
yeah,
last
yeah.
topic there.
Mhm.
Oh, here's a good one too. Cell phone battery pack. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, a 2035
I knew we
battery
missed
for
that guy
Harley
for a
Davidson
reason.
fobs.
Portable jump starter. That's another
Yeah, I
good
got one of them. I had one of them.
one.
Yeah.
Got
Zip
batteries for
ties.
your fob?
Pete takes
Spare
Bonnie.
Bluetooth. I always carry a spare Bluetooth with
Yeah.
me.
Pete always takes Bonnie because she's a personal paramedic. She's a paramedic.
Zip ties and bungee cords. You got to have those.
Yes.
Mhm.
How about patience? That's a good one. Fun Chuck says you need
Yeah.
patience.
Yeah. I'll take Lorelai along with me so she can pay for lunch.
Yeah. This person never carries fuel, but they should have. They should have. What's this? Travels. I have pushed a few people across a parking lot. Yeah, I think that happens quite a bit. Sometimes when people run out.
That's where you wish you had packed a pair of running shoes versus a couple of, wearing motorcycle boots.
Mm-hmm.
So next question. The best destination for a group ride?
That way.
That way?
I'll go that way.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You know what? It's kind of a loaded question, but I think the best destination is when you have one. Like, honestly, I think when you kind of know where you're going to end up, how you get there doesn't really matter. But I think having a good place to stop for lunch is always nice. If it's going to be a restaurant or if it's going to be like you brought a packed lunch, having a nice picnic area someplace where you've kind of planned that out ahead of time and you know where you're going to stop and everybody knows that, oh yeah, we're going to stop at the shoreline in Wyerton or whatever, whatever. We're going to stop somewhere and have a nice lunch there. Then worst case scenario, you know where to go for lunch. What would you say, Dave?
I'd like to say the next place that I haven't been to.
Oh, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
And that's one of the nice things about having different ride captains and different destinations. But nice scenery, nice day, a sunny day. I'm in for any ride.
How about you, Richard? What do you think is the best destination for a group ride?
Really, I'll go just about anywhere. Water, festival, ice cream, fish and chips.
Food.
Just follow the front wheel, pick a spot, and let's just go and find
Yeah.
some new roads. And
Yeah.
to touch on what Dave said there, like one thing is that just makes my day is when I'm leading a ride and someone comes up at the end of the day and says, I've never been down that road.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I know.
It's a compliment. It is.
I-
If
I
you're
have
the one
yet
that's
to find a
designed
road.
that ride, that's great. Yeah.
And
I've
to
yet to
have-
find a road that Richard doesn't know.
and to be able to be on a road, a couple of friends of mine, other first officers, you'll be going down and I have never been down this road. And I will make a point of telling them, I've never been down that road. That was really cool. Well done.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
point.
So this is going to bring us to our speed round. So this is short answers. Okay. Now these are going to be tough for you guys because I've never asked these questions before.
Uh-oh.
All right, here you go. The question I never ask: best ice cream flavor, best ice cream shop. Richard, you're up.
Maple walnut, Holyrood.
Okay. Dave, I already know the answer, but go ahead.
What? Well, okay. Kawartha Dairies, Moose Tracks.
Moose Tracks. I knew. Wayne,
Hewitt's Dairy Bar.
where's
And
that?
it's chocolate.
Yeah, look at him rubbing his hands there. He's hungry already.
I actually kind
I
of
was
like
just there the other day.
the what is it? The most pinkest
The pinkest ice cream shop in the world.
ice cream shop in the world in Harriston, Ontario, and I like to get the cherry, the
Burgundy cherry
the
or just
the
cherry?
cherry
Cherry vanilla?
cherry.
There's also
ice
a really good one in Port Rowan, but I don't know the name of it. Sorry to the people that own it.
You know,
Okay.
because of Kevin liking ice cream all the time. Back in the fall, I decided to do an ice cream run, and I jumped on the bike, got the cameras going, and drove out. Got to the first ice cream shop. Well, it's closed down for the season.
Yeah.
So then I drove to the next one, and it was only open on weekends. Then I went to the third one, and it was closed too. And finally found a place for ice cream. But I wanted to do a video and had to go through 4 different locations before I was able to get an ice cream. I was almost ready to just go to McDonald's and go through the drive-thru.
That would have been funny.
So, did anybody see Blue Bike and Doyle's last video?
I did. Yes, I did. I did.
Because he mentioned something about Superman, and then the next thing he was talking about Kevin and ice cream.
Ice
Yeah.
cream.
He wrote, well, the first part of it was him riding past the penitentiary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
And then he's talking about Kevin.
I know. There you go. All right. Next speed question. Most embarrassing moment on a motorcycle.
Oh, I got a good one.
Okay. This is one I haven't shared with you. And I'm going to say it was kind of embarrassing, although not too many people saw it, but I'm sure they got a chuckle. I stopped at a stop sign. I was on a run up by Algonquin Park. I was by myself, and a wild turkey came out and started pecking at my leg. And then there were cars going by, and I'm like kicking the thing, going, "Get at it, here, you stupid turkey!" And the stupid thing wouldn't leave me alone. And I'm sure I gave a couple of people in cars a pretty good chuckle. So I guess that would be my embarrassing moment. Turkey. How about you, Wayne? Embarrassing moments.
Hitting a car that pulled out in front of me.
Oh, that's embarrassing. Yeah, that's not good.
Actually, it wasn't a car. It was a lady on a riding lawnmower. But
You hit a riding lawnmower.
There's a big difference.
oh, I missed
between-
her. But yeah.
There's a story there. We'll have to dig into that one deeper. How about you, Dave?
I was out, so within a couple of minutes from my house, I can get on some really nice back roads. You know, they're not fast back roads, but they're just no traffic, lots of nice trees, scenery. And I was riding along, not even paying attention to how fast I was going. I was actually filming one of my videos, and all of a sudden, this moped or scooter just screams past me, and
I recognized it in the video and drew everybody's attention to it. Thank you.
And he had a lime green jacket on, and a
Gazoo.
lime green helmet, and my God, I now I know where the great
Then
Gazoo
Kevin
lived.
said it was Gazoo.
It was the great Gazoo.
Yeah.
So the my friends in the chapter, they've all seen the video, and I always get asked, where's the great Gazoo?
So, Richard, what's your most embarrassing moment on a motorcycle?
Thankfully, there was only 4 of us stopping for gas and going to set the bike on the kickstand that you didn't put down.
Oh, yes.
Ah,
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
I
the
think
best
we've
one
all-
like that I ever heard was Memphis Mike got pulled over by a cop and he didn't put it down either.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
yeah. I've been known to leave mine down, but not failing to put it down.
I've
All
done
the
that
people
too.
yelling at me. Your kickstand's down.
I've have been yelled at with my kickstand down, going across a parking lot. Yeah, I know. I shouldn't say that too much. All right, has everybody answered that one?
Yeah.
All right.
Put Artisan on a Harley's comment on.
Okay.
Oh, got to do that. I got to tease Pete.
All right.
The one where it says Pete waves at scooters.
Yeah, I got one story about the scooter.
That's probably because he has a nice
Is it
shiny
scooters
bike.
or e-bikes?
My brother-in-law, he rides, or he used to ride a wide glide, and he was telling me a story one day where he was going down the road, and some of those scooters, those bigger ones, they look like a motorcycle from far away.
They actually look like a Concord Kawasaki.
Yeah.
Is what
Oh,
they
is that
look
the one
like.
with the dual
They look
headlights?
identical in the front.
Yeah, and so he's riding along on his wide glide, and he's like as badass Harley guy as you could ever see. You know what I mean? Big white beard and the whole bit. And he's going along, and he gives the wave, and the guy on the scooter didn't wave back, and he said, "I've never been," and then I realized it's a scooter, and I was so pissed off. And he didn't even wave. All right. Enough of that. I've got the next question. All right. What is the one item you always have in your saddlebag? For me, it's cleaning solution and a rag. How about you, Dave? What do you always have in your saddlebag? And it isn't cleaning solution.
Good question. Well, I always have the first aid kit, but I've already said that. Probably a light jacket.
Light jacket, yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Wayne? What's something you always keep with you? You have everything. Kitchen
Well,
sink.
the light jacket and also extra Gatorade already on ice in case.
Yeah,
Kevin
that's always
needs,
a good thing to have.
in case
Yeah.
Kevin needs some.
Yeah, and then I have. How about you, Richard? What's something you always keep with you when you go on in your saddlebag?
My little tool bag that has zip ties and bungee cords in it as well.
All right, good answers. All right, what do you love
Pete's
the most?
trying
about-
to solicit a toque out of Craig.
I got it, Toucan. Craig, look at this.
I've got two
I'm in the
speed round
basement, so this
questions
is nice
left.
and cozy now.
I've
That's
got
just shameless.
we've got two speed questions left. What do you love the most about the bike you have now? And I will tell you what I love the most about the bike I have now is I made the last payment. How about you, Richard?
The backrest.
Oh yeah, that's very nice. I don't have one of those. How about you, Dave?
All the chrome and investment money I put into that bike. So
Why don't you
I've got my.
polish it?
You don't need it. All right, guys. No picking on my bike. It's a good bike, right? And it's my bike. It's customized the way I like it. I'm not interested in sitting on anybody else's bike or even going to the show and sitting on the bike. That Street Glide of mine, it's mine. I sit on it. It's
Yeah.
just like a glove.
And actually, what I will say about Dave's bike is he's done some really nice things to it. It's got air ride suspension that is that's wicked, and a stereo and a stereo that just will blow you away. How about you, Wayne? What do you love the most about the bike you have now?
How other people look at it when I go by.
Oh,
I was pulling through Delhi one day just before it got cold. I turned this corner and there was a road crew working on the side of the road. There was a young guy with a stop sign standing there,
Yeah.
and he just started nodding when I rode by him. He was looking that bike up and down. So yeah, I'm quite proud of it for the way it looks.
very good.
Yeah. So, and did I ask you, Richard, already?
Yeah,
Okay.
did it.
So my last, hold on. Okay, no, that's the one we have now. How about this is the last question I've got here in our speed round. When you go for a ride, when you go for a ride, I most often end up blank. I end up eating ice cream. Richard?
With a coffee.
With a coffee.
Me?
Wayne?
Oh, Wayne.
Burger King.
Burger King. Okay. Dave, when I go for a ride, I most often end up blank.
At a washroom.
I don't.
And anybody else says that they don't ride their bike for a long distance and not have to first go to the washroom is lying.
They're lying.
Yes.
Um,
But mostly at Tim Hortons. If I'm by myself, I'll go for a
Ed
ride.
Nutt says microbrewery.
If anyone would like to just make a comment quickly, we're just about ready to wrap things up here.
Okay,
but
before we go, Kev,
yeah,
I don't know if Jody's still in the chat. If she is,
Oh, Purple and 3.
put the
Yeah,
link
she's there.
in there before we leave. Let her in because I wanted to talk to her
all right,
after the show, if you don't mind.
Green room.
sure. I'm trying to get the link here. Can
Okay.
you guys do it better than me or no?
Just
We
as you're
can't.
doing that, I'm
You
just
gotta
going
do
to put out there, if anybody's interested, I have a series of videos that I'm putting up right now featuring Lori and a lot of them. It's called Lori's Mystery Ride, and it's a 7-part video series that where Lori and I went on vacation last year, and she's coming out of her shell and doing a little bit more on YouTube. So anybody want to swing by and take a look at that, it'd be greatly appreciated, and leave your comments for Lori.
So I put a link there if somebody would like to jump in. Hit the link, and if you wanted to just make a comment here or there. If not,
Just let
then-
Jody in before you kill it.
sure. If somebody would like to just hit the link, I will put you up here. But you know what? Riding in a group is always a lot of fun. And I think, like, when I started riding with Richard and crew up here, I really liked the group. The people are a great bunch, and I enjoy their company. And we've had a couple of really, like, the best runs that we have had. Like, one day we ended up in Tobermory, and that was a really good day. And that was just a happenstance. Remember that one?
Yeah, that was well, hey, while you're up here, do you want to come up to the cottage?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that. And sometimes you see things, or you'll run into things as you go that you hadn't planned on. Like, and that's always good. Get on a road that you haven't been on, done some curves I never seen before, things like that, or just really cool stores and restaurants. I mean, that's the other thing I like. When I was riding with these guys, the Canadian guys last summer, we actually went past the Schitt's Creek motel, and I've got pictures of me standing in front of the Schitt's Creek motel, and that was kind of cool. I mean, I didn't even know it was there, and there it was. You know, up by Hockley Valley, by the way.
Mhm.
If was interested. Anyone else want to join us?
No.
Nobody
I think
does. Well,
Moto Travels.
yes.
Moto Travels.
Moto Travels, yeah. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's come out and supported the channel on the side chat. This has been a really good conversation. Enjoyed this. Thank you so much for all your support, everyone, and thank you, Richard, for coming on tonight. And the guys, as always, you guys are always fun to talk to. So we will catch you guys all next week, and we're going to be where next week? We're going to be at Wayne's house. Do we know what we're talking about yet, Wayne?
No, I never know what I'm talking about.
All right. So
We've kind of noticed that from time to time.
So watch out for the announcement for our subject for next week, and we'll catch you all later. And thank you very much for stopping by.
All right. Thanks, Richard, for joining us.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Enjoy the ice cream.
Will do.
We're out of here.
Thanks, Kev.
Bye.
Moto Travels.